Mercy. I'll be your host today. Welcome to this RTT show on mental health in adolescents. I will introduce my panelists.
My name is Esther Maundu. Welcome to RTT show.
My name is Martha Nganga. You're welcome.
And my name is Jessica Kimoyo. You're most welcome.
Mental health in adolescents is something that really interests me. My firstborn will soon be an adolescent, so I'm really waiting to hear what we have to say about this topic. And I'll just give it to Martha to take us through what is mental health in adolescents are concerned, Martha.
Right. Thank you very much for having me here, and even for us to have this discussion. It's a very critical discussion because I think just in the previous discussion we were talking about mental health in children. And we know that it's a build-up for them to get to adolescence. It's a build-up from what they were when they were younger. If they were not healthy mentally when they were younger children, it's bound to have issues even as they grow older. And so as we talk about mental health in adolescents, in teenagers, we cannot ignore how healthy they were when they were growing up. And so if they lost it when they were younger, you realize that now when they're older, it's going to be more of a hit and run. And so the encouragement that we have towards us parents is that we will be keen on our children even when they're younger, because that will mean as they come to teenage now, we will have dealt with the backlog. So we are not dealing with things that are so immense, and we are wondering, how do we heal this? Because it's already been messed up when they were younger. And so therefore I want to just say that mental health, like we talked about previously, we are talking about their emotional stability, their physical also, because the physical also has a way of integrating into their mental health. And so we are looking generally psychologically, how okay are they? How intelligent are they? How okay are they in all those areas? And so as we talk about mental health, I think for today, for me, I feel like probably we look at their emotional well-being, because if the emotions have a way of bringing out affecting so many other areas of their lives. How do we get there? That emotionally they are not okay, and so on, and they are not healthy. How do we ensure that they are healthy? So as we talk about mental health, I personally want to look at it from that perspective. How emotionally are they okay? Psychologically.
Thanks, Martha. There's something that I usually hear from parents. They say, my child was this warm, friendly, happy child when they were children. And now they're going to this age of preteen or teen, and all of a sudden they are moody, they are angry, they're shouting back, they're answering back. What usually happens, Martha?
Now that's a very common question, and one of the illustrations I give is the changes that happen. We know when you're doing biology and what happens in teenage and so on. I wouldn't want to go into the details of the hormonal changes and so on, the changes of adolescence and so on. But I think one of the things that we as parents keep forgetting is that, for example, the child who is in class 8 going to Form 1, like for example, if you look at Form 1, the trouser or the skirt they were wearing in Form 1 and when they're in Form 4, they cannot wear that skirt anymore. They can't wear that trouser anymore. They can't wear that shirt anymore. Why? Because it's already so small. Okay, it's not that it's small. They have grown bigger. Clothes don't get smaller. The people are the ones who get bigger. So just the same way physically they are growing and they can't fit in their physical clothes. There's so much growth and changes that have happened, and we tend to ignore the other changes that happen. We focus on the physical. And this season for them, it's a season of growth. It's self-discovery. They are getting to ask themselves, who am I? What are my values? Where do I come from? And that's why even issues of single parenting becomes a challenge at that moment, because the child wants to know, so where is mom? Where is dad? Why is he not with us? What happened to him? And that's why we, as parents, you have to find yourself coming up with all manner of stories to explain and to answer questions that earlier they were not an issue, but now it's a point where they're not becoming naughty. They're just at a point of self-awareness. They're starting to ask themselves questions. They want to challenge questions. You tell them you need to go this way, and they're asking why, and they want to say no, not because they are rude or arrogant or they're all that, but it's at a space in their lives where they need to ask questions. And I think the problem we're having as parents is that we are not used to being asked questions. We are not being used to being challenged. And so when that challenge comes, we are not ready to answer those questions, because if you have a child who does not ask questions, who does not challenge what you're saying, I think there's a problem. For me, I would rather deal with a child who is loud, like, they want to be explained for everything. At this pace, they must be. And as a parent, you must brace yourself for that, for answering those questions, because when you don't handle this season well, is where now they become arrogant, they become rude, and when you don't answer that question, there are so many other people out there who will answer those questions. And so I think parents need to embrace that it's a season of growth and a season of moving, a transition, and you as a parent, you need to work with your child at that moment. So the child may be rude, and like one of the ways that personally I've seen that happens, when a child is answering back, like you've asked about answering back, you need to ask your child, why would you talk that way? Is that the right way to answer that question? I expected a better answer. Because sometimes they're not even aware they're being rude. Then they're just answering, And at that moment is when you need to correct at that moment and say, if I was asked that question, I wouldn't answer that way. I would say this and this and this. What you're doing, you're modeling. You're showing them how to answer back. You're showing them how to respond to a situation, so that when they become arrogant or rude, or they are physically aggressive, at that moment is when you have to ask, why would you respond this way? Because you are understanding that it is a time for growth, it's a time for development, it's a time for transition. And it's a very confusing moment for them. Even for them, sometimes you ask them a question, they don't know. They know there's so much going on within them, they also don't understand it. And so when you ask them, like it's in an interrogation room, it's torture, you have to answer why. Sometimes they have no answers, but there's so much going on. And you, as the person who is grown, you should be able to walk with them and ask them, so what do you think is going on? Then they'll tell you, I don't know. And probably at that moment, you need to help them just walk through it. So I think it is a transition moment, and so much is expected to happen. And so as a parent, when your child starts to show signs of rudeness and being angry and all that, you need to raise it to them and tell them, by the way, have you realized that lately you are very annoyed? What is this that is annoying you? Must you always answer questions in this way? One, what you're doing, you're raising an awareness for them. So before you go to disciplining and grounding them and beating and all that, you need to have raised that with them, so that it's not more of an awareness issue, it's more of a discipline issue now. Now they are being disciplined. And when you're punishing that and correcting that, you have helped them walk from where they are to where actually they should be at that moment. So growth happens at that moment, transition happens, and that's where they are.
Thank you, Martha. If I'm hearing you well, you're saying that as we tailor their clothes to fit their sizes, we should also tailor our parenting to fit their place of development. Now, as we think about that, let us think about this issue of independence as teenagers. When the parent is saying that the child's door should always be open, they should be able to access, and the teenager wants to lock their door because they're feeling we are growing up, we want our privacy, we want to be independent. And the other issue let us look at is social media, the WhatsApp, and the many other social media platforms that I may not even know. And these children are very tech savvy. They know how to get through even parental controls and interacting with the outside world. Let us talk about this in regards to mental health.
Yes, I think I would want to begin with that issue of the privacy, because I think these young people at this moment, they need a lot of space, privacy. They feel like I want, this a space where they just want me and myself and I do not want so many other people. And the other people they would want to interact with are people who are not physically with them. They want to be online, interact with their friends, be in those whatevers. Like you're saying, some of them, I even have no idea. My daughter is one who was telling me, Siju, they are called what? Siju, I'm not even able to just keep track on how many apps they are there for the young people. And me with my Facebook and my WhatsApp, and that's enough. And Instagram once in a while. And I mean, for them, they have so much. They want to interact with many people out there and very little with what we have here. And I always keep saying that it's a win-win situation when you allow your child some space, some privacy. But that privacy needs to be regulated, and you need to actually agree. It's not a point of, I think for me, even working with young people and working with boys more than girls, I find it easy working with boys because you just need to give them respect and dictate your terms. Communicate what your boundaries are. These are my expectations. This is what I expect from you, from your end. That this is a line you can't cross. And then you also ask them, what is your expectation towards me? Even as a teacher, tell me, what are your expectations to me as a teacher? Are there things that a teacher does and you feel like you're totally disrespected? I realized that every new class I go into, I want to make sure that I communicate my bare minimums. 1, 2, 3. You can't do that, because when you do that, you provoke me, and whatever happens after that is really not on me. So I also ask them, what is this you really want to see me do? What are things wouldn't you want to see me do? And they communicate. Of course, some of them, they just say crazy things. But when I do that, I get to understand the kind of people I'm dealing with. And so along the way, I know there's a line I can't cross with them. If I'm punishing them, there's a way I cannot, this punishment should go to here. And by the way, we're at a space where if I'm punishing them, they actually just tell me, just forgive us this one time. We promise we will not do this again. And by the way, they don't even do it for a very long time. A place where they talk back or they talk when I'm talking, that is a no-no, because I communicated that from day one. If you do that, it's a personal assault to me. So you don't do that. And so even with parenting, I realized that when we are able as parents to have that conversation with our children, that this door, I understand that you need to have privacy, but this is my house. I am the one who pays rent here. And so the day you will have your own space out there where you're paying your rent, you can close even the roof. You can close every window. But as long as you're in my house, this house is free access. And maybe even as parents, I don't know, maybe people have different ways of interacting. If you're able to get to a space where your child can also have free access to your room, because I'm wondering, what is this so private in my bedroom that my child cannot walk into unless when I'm there, I'm changing, or maybe I'm having my private moment. Creating those boundaries is important, and communicating them and helping. If you can walk into my bedroom, how come I can't walk into yours? I don't lock my bedroom all the time, but why would I even be locking my bedroom all the time? Because you're not a thug. Because unless you will you come to steal things from my room, and so therefore I need to access your room because this is my house, and so on. But also you need your space. If, for example, they want to just have their own silent moment, it's okay. And I think as parents, that communication, that dialogue on how far can your silent moment be, how long will it be, I think it's important. Even on the issues of the mood swings and so on, I realize that as parents, we have these heavy expectations that you're not supposed to walk around looking gloomy and sad and all that. Why would you ask that? You have a right. You as a parent, you want to come from work, you are annoyed, you're upset by your boss, you want to bash everybody around, but you don't expect them to have the same. If you have a problem sometimes getting hold of your emotions as an adult, can you imagine for them what happens with them? And so giving them space to just, be emotional. It's okay for you to be emotional. It's okay for you to be moody. I can allow that. But again, you can't allow your moods to swing all day long for a whole week. Then I think you need help going forward. And so one of my things I do very well, when people wake up in the house and they're moody, I'm like, seems like you didn't have a good night. So what happened at night? Because the time you're going to bed, you're so okay. So what's going on right now? So they're like, no, I'm okay. It's like, you don't look okay, but if you insist you're okay, then I will let it be. But and how soon do you think you'll get back on track? Because you don't seem to be doing so well. It's like, give me some time. That child already, you have shown them that I understand. I will allow you. But again, even because we need your positive energy, don't keep us like this for long. That child in their own way, if they mean well, they will find a way of getting around them. And then you'll then ask them, so why are you like this? Is there something that happened? Did someone tell you something wrong? I saw you on phone. Creating an environment where they can talk to you about issues. It's not easy. And it can't begin now when they're in high school. It can't begin now when they're in teenage. It has to begin from down there, where your child can come from school and someone said a mean word, someone made fun of their height, someone made fun of their skin color, someone made fun of their sweater, and they can come and tell you. And you help them to deal with the bullying and all that. And when they're down, you ask them, so what's up to how can them walk that way? When it comes to adolescence, it becomes much, much easier. But when we want to begin now, talking now, earlier we didn't have time for them. We were busy. We were all over. We were bashing them. We acted like they're not around. Now when we want to put our foot forward, they resist it. But if you had all along been present, it becomes a bit easier. And so therefore, I think for me, even the issue of social media and all that, it's just about control and agreeing. And sometimes when, like one of the rules that we have is that when we extend this privilege to you, when you abuse it, when you take advantage of it, when you don't respect it, it's taken away. So we agreed that you're on phone for this long, you are on TV for this long, you are on gadgets for this long, and you have a schedule. Like she was asking about that issue of handling children and being on gadgets all along. Having a routine for them and help, because by and by, their mental health is affected by all these things. Agree, over the holiday, what time do we wake up? We wake up by 7, we wake up by 8. Between 8 and whatever we do breakfast. Between this and this time is homework. Between then this time you can have your gadgets. This and this time you go out to play. And I also appreciate that our urban setting, there is even no space for them to play. But as a parent, you're the bigger person. You must be able to create other avenues. And they will throw tantrums. No, I must be on phone. They want to hide the phone and go out with it. And you must put your foot down. But you can't say no phones at all. You must be able to get to a point where your negotiation skills are really important at this stage. So I think even on their mental health, they'll be able to get to where they are. And I keep telling parents, sometimes we want to stay up there and you want them to come up there. It's not going to happen. We are the bigger person. We need to come down and go up with them. So when we are too big to come down and hear them out and walk with them up, now that becomes a challenge. So I think for me, they are challenged by so many things that we don't even understand. The things these children are dealing with, they are out of this world. They are things we never did. They are challenges we never experienced. And sometimes when we blush them and pretend it's not happening and tell them, you people, they feel like you're so 1930. You are a fossil. You don't even understand. You hushikanishi, But if you told them, Ebu, help me understand. Ebu, and they come, they want to give you stories, and you're interested in those stories. Sometimes they don't even make sense, like, and then what happened? Then what did your desk mate do? And then what happened? What you're doing at that moment, you're creating an avenue for them to talk. And that gives them a place to diffuse whatever is going on. Even when they're in boarding, when they come home the first few days, let it be a discussion. So what your desk mate, what did they do? And then akapanishiwa, because the stories they're giving you, they're actually their stories. It's not that they're not telling you, I walked into that life and so on. So I encourage that as parents, it's deliberate. We have to deliberately go out of our way and support them and encourage them, because these kids are dealing with so much. And we have everything we have. God has given us. We are the parents at this moment. God designed us to be parents, and He knew we can handle. And it's not easy, but we can do it. Yeah.